This is Your Fault for Listening. I am the big funny Travis Simmons. This is Science Monday. Science Monday. I got a few friends on the line. I have back from the past, from the old funny to the moon days. I got Jen with me and our new co-host extraordinaire. You don't even know her yet. I got Lady L on the line. We got the death doula around this mug. Watch out, folks. We are here. She's here today to talk about everything and anything, including whole math. So today's title is Science Monday, If This, Then That, Whole Math, and Why White People Are Mad, Part 1. I'm going to open this other line, and then we'll start our conversation. 360, you are on the line. Who's that? Hello. Am I on here?
Hello?
Yes. You there, Tony?
Hello?
Is that Tony?
Yeah.
Okay, Tony, Lydia,
Yes.
Jen, we are alive. This is Your Fault for Listening, Science Monday. If this, then that, whole math, and why white people are mad, Part 1. Since Lydia is our first guest, we will let her choose which topic we talk about first. We also have the science of angry. We also have the science of angry white people as one of our potential topics today. Plus, anything anybody else wants to talk about, it's always open topics here on Your Fault for Listening.
I mean, I want to end heavy with the white people remarks. I got a lot saved up for that, but that's not where I feel like we should start. Like, let's do some seduction into the heavy hitter, you know.
Okay, so we can start with any old if, then, this, that, or if, then what. One of the ones I thought of today, it might be kind of heavy, but it was like this. I thought, I was like, what kind of if, then that, if this, then that can I come up with that can bring it back into racism? And I thought of the best one. If rich white people were willing to pay poor white people, then there wouldn't have been slavery in the first place of black people.
True. If they weren't so stingy.
Right.
They wasn't so stingy.
Right. Exactly. Stingy, greedy. Last night we were celebrating a friend of ours' birthday party, and one guy told me about how, like in France, they like drown baby ducks in liquor, and then they eat them, and it tastes so good, and they're so embarrassed by what they're doing. They have to put a sheet over their eyes so they don't see themselves eating it. And I just thought, well, you know, I wouldn't even.
They put sheets over their heads here too.
You got backtracked. What did you just say?
What did you just say? He said that they take baby ducks, okay, drown them in liquor, okay. And it tastes so good that no matter how horrific that sounds to any thinking person, that they got to do it, but they're embarrassed by doing it, and so they put like sheets over their head. And Jen basically said, "I'm gonna go Red Fox on you. They got reasons to put their sheets on here too, but it ain't got nothing to do with ducks."
Well, because it blew my mind. I didn't understand if you meant they put sheets on the duck's head. I was like,
no, on their own.
Duck, why do you need a whole sheet?
This is formally funny to the moon.
Napkins.
Yes.
I mean,
speaking of napkins, my father actually said that if you eat chitlins, you should not be allowed napkins. You should have to use toilet paper just to remind you of what you are doing.
Wow. That's cold.
No,
right?
Don't talk to your dad on New Year's at all. It ain't
right?
happening.
Yeah. You don't want, you don't want to be inviting my father to any Black New Year's parties when you be eating chitlins. No, because you got that South Carolina in you there, Tony. This is Tony Zamboni, Lydia and Jim.
North.
Oh, North Carolina. Okay. All right. Well, still, that don't help that much. You know, one time.
Same. It was all one Carolina at times.
You know, one time this is a true story. I actually cooked some chitlins one time. I was spending the night over at Mr. Mookie's house, and he went to church, and I wasn't going to the church. But so he said, look, if you ain't go to the church, at least stir the chitlins every 15 minutes. So, yeah, stir my chitlins. So I go in there the first time, I lift the top off the pot, and there's this brown film just floating on top of it. I start scraping it off and throwing it in the sink. And I did that about 8 times, and he came back from church, and they were done. And I got into it, and I've been thinking about my ancestors, and I started clowning myself, saying, who are you, Negro? And I didn't say Negro. I said, who are you, nigga, to even think you get to be bougie about eating some chitlins? Even though you haven't eaten any, you might as well go eat some, right?
Right.
So I said, you know what, I'm going to eat some. Everybody was all surprised that I was going to go ahead and do it. And then he said, you want some hot sauce? I said, no, my ancestors might not have had no hot sauce.
Man,
right?
It's about the hot sauce.
It's about the hot sauce. Wait a second. So then we went over to Tony Daniel comedian's house, and his woman, I told her that story, and she said, at first when I was telling the story, she said, you ain't had no chitlins. She said, what kind of northern Negro are you, right? And then when I told her that I ate the hot sauce, I ate the chitlins without hot sauce, she just went, nigga, you crazy. So I went from, corny, to the wildest, you know what I mean? Like, by just saying, you know what, I'm gonna go ahead and eat this without, And then Mookie was telling me, Mr. Mookie was telling me that the key to chitlins is to make sure you wash them, right? And I was like, well, and he bought them out of a bucket, and I was like, well, how do you even know?
They're triple washed before you buy them nowadays, and then you wash them again. Triple wash.
Okay, but you're washing out an intestine, okay? I'm going to copy you now. You have to understand there's not enough Palmolive in the world.
Look, just about everything you consume has some shit in it, so you can't really go that far.
But what I'm saying is, one thing
some type of shit. There could be bug shit.
It's one thing.
There could be,
one thing to eat something.
Yeah,
it might. Don't be on speaker, Tony. If there's one thing to eat some. Okay, good. There's one thing to eat something that might have some shit in it, and there's another thing to call delicacy a shit tunnel. It's a tunnel of shit. It's the tunnel. You know what I mean? It's a tunnel. Don't get me wrong.
It's not an everyday. You're acting like we do it every day. No, it's a once a year with the Black Eyed Peas for good luck for the year, and obviously it don't work.
So with it in this day and age where we're not fed garbage and we get to choose what we're going to eat for the most part out here. Right. Who would want to eat some inside out asshole? Like
it's just tradition. I
don't even understand that.
It would believe me. It won't go past a certain point. You know what I mean?
Okay, yeah.
Once grandma's gone, it's gonna stop. But I'm just saying, it's a tradition.
You're right. Grandma got the recipe.
Yeah. Voodoo. It's a voodoo tradition.
Oh,
we
voodoo.
got pictures of grandma.
No. Hey.
I was thinking
here. I'm gonna go Red Fox on you, Tony. I'm gonna go Red Fox on you, Tony. You might think it's a voodoo tradition, but it's really a doo-doo tradition.
You got me with that one, yo.
Hey, when you go back home for New Year's Eve, tell the niggas I said that too. I know you will. I know you will. You got to. Matter of fact, we need to make a song out of that for the holidays.
Yes.
It's
for New Year's
tradition in your kitchen, inside ass on your plate.
Yes. I'm telling you, it would sell out.
All you got
I told you,
is a big ass on your plate.
All platinum selling albums has to do with a holiday or a day of the week or a city.
Can I just say that as a white woman from Washington,
doodle?
I'm getting a fucking education right now. Just to put that out there. Like,
you are.
This explains to me why for years I was easily seduced by like shrimp grits. You know, like if you don't grow up knowing what stuff is, you don't know. Yeah. And I never knew until this moment that shitless were assholes. So
yes, pig intestines. Yes.
Yeah.
How about this one? My father told me he stopped eating shrimp when he heard that when they find dead bodies, shrimp be eating on them in the water.
Same thing with crabs, lobster. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But I guess
like the sea.
And the real thing is
meat is meat. They're more like the vacuum cleaner of the sea. I mean, people say roaches, and I was like,
Yeah,
roaches
are
not
I'm going
pill
on
bugs.
what they look like.
Pill bugs are shrimp. Cockroaches are just nasty.
This is Science Monday on Your Fault for Listening. So, good. So there you go. That's our first topic. How does that feel? How does that feel? Your first little introduction to Blog Talk Radio, Big Funny and Friends. Your Fault for Listening, Science Monday. I just added the Big Funny and Friends today. Sorry about that. We also got.
No, bro, I hate you, man. I'm not your friend. I'm just on here so I don't get fined.
Okay.
Travis, I did want to speak to a point that you made though when you had said that like it's because white people don't want to pay white people.
Right.
Like there's still evidence of that like right now, like in the whitest state. Washington.
They don't want to pay their women.
Wait, Tony.
No. I mean,
go ahead.
I grew up in an agricultural area, right? I grew up in Wenatchee, Washington, and that place is known as the apple capital of the world. It's also advertised on the border that you and your friends can come here and make a bunch of money, right? And it's white landowners that ship illegal peoples, as they would like to call them, to this country, still to this day, right now. Like yesterday, and work them until cull. And what cull is where they finally, like all of these workers have piled up boxes and huge boxes worth of apples, and those apples leave the orchard. Those workers never get to see those apples again. It would be like their word against the company or the orchardist how many of those apples were viable or not. So that is cull. Yeah. And cull doesn't even get counted until it reaches the packing sheds.
Well, think
so
about
a lot
this.
of times these white
if you had a
landowners,
place where you had a bunch of people that were illegal,
past their work
undocumented
visa,
people.
They will keep them. No, even if they came up on actual work visas, these landowners will keep them past that time.
Reverbing.
Who is that? Somebody has an echo. I got ear headphones on, so it's not me.
I got headphones
on as well.
But I don't have on. I don't have open the episode anywhere. Like I can turn it on right quick to see what we sound like, but I don't actually have us on right now. All I was going to say was, okay, so whatever that was is gone, so we're okay. So, but what I was going to say, what you were saying was, what about like when like the whoever it is that goes and raids a place that has these undocumented workers employed? I wonder what percentage of the time they raid those places right before they pay those people.
No, it's fucking dirty white people shit. They call fucking immigration was what it used to be called. Now it's ICE.
Yeah.
But back back in the day, it was
so they don't have to pay them.
So they don't have to fucking pay them. It's the goddamn landowners and the orchardists that half the time call in fucking immigration on their own goddamn workers. Why? Because they don't want to pay a fair fucking wage to people. I saw that shit my whole childhood.
I didn't even think of it like that.
Like, that is the age motherfucking slavery that happens in our country right fucking now. Less than 200 miles away from Seattle, super progressive city in the nation. Like, this shit exists in our state. So, it's a true statement. White people don't want to pay for nothing. We'll just take it.
Right, but think about the people who are like rich, that buy expensive clothes, but then shortchange the people who wash their clothes or take care of their kids or.
Do you understand? No. Do you understand that their woman is in the house taking care of the kids and stuff like that? She got to ask for money from him, and he goes buy her something. I'll buy you something nice. Cheap ass motherfuckers won't even pay his own wife or his any female, obviously, because even the white women can't get a fair shake in money.
Oh, don't even get me started on home math. That was my thing.
Home math is expensive, bruh.
Yeah.
I've been a home math for 18 years, and that shit costs.
So, but what about what think about the people who I think we should go back to the undocumented workers and how. Look, if the person who hired all these people, so this is like the same thing over and over again, right? So like the people who are white and racist and mad.
You buy their fucking apples every day, bro. It's Stemelt, it's fucking Dole. It's like all these huge mega corporations that are huge umbrellas for small-time orchardists that are rotten to their people.
Wow.
I promise you. Like, we all play a part in it. We buy their products. I don't fucking apples. I'm the goddamn Bubba Gump of apples. I've had apple fritter. I've had apple pie. I've had apple toast. Like, I've had all. Fuck it. No. Dirty.
This is America.
Like sealed germs and wax. Gross.
Apple gumbo, apple chitlins.
I've had apple flour. Like, you can make, like, flour out of apples, and that's why I'm like, oh, so it's a sweet potato. That's gross. But the treatment of workers everywhere, I imagine, in rural communities is just it's monstrous. And like as a kid that was in and out of pickers housing growing up, I can tell you that these people are like offered a dream life and then given like small shacks with no electricity and like they're using irrigation water.
And I'll tell you something else that irritated me. This is a couple of years ago. Father's friend, I saw her somewhere, and we started talking for a little while, and then she started complaining about the people who used to come and pick the apples and leave Wenatchee, and then and then now they're just staying around now, and I'm like, you're liberal.
Well, right.
I thought you're progressive. You want somebody
stuck
just
with no money, and your whole family's been brought up from another country because you were promised that the more apples you could pick, which meant your woman, your children, your grandma, everybody is out in that orchard doing that. That was what you were promised. The more apples you pick, the more we will pay you. You can make your whole year's wages just coming up to Washington. The American dream is packaged as bullshit and sold abroad, and what it has always meant, fucking slavery.
You have to be asleep to experience the American dream.
George Carlin.
I mean,
yep, exactly.
Yes, it's absolutely true. And what's unfortunate is that poor white people are too stupid to figure that out.
Well, but isn't it really? But isn't it really that they just want to be the tricker, and so?
I mean, some of it really is that they're stupid, Travis. If you listen to some white people, they'll be all like, oh, well, they send all their money to Mexico, and then they go shop at Walmart. Like, 1 cent of every dollar that you spend at Walmart stays in this fucking country, bro. Like, It's not like a universal economic thought process that immigrants are, like, taking over our economics or leaning off of us. This is an old white supremacist ideal that any minority is taxing our white wealth.
You're right. It's more like even like a blue blood type of thing because basically, once again, over and over again, we say this on all the shows I'm ever on. Like Dick Gregory said, when I say white, I mean rich. And when I say rich, I only mean the people that can wake up in the morning, call the stock market, and make it go up or down if they feel like it. Everybody's playing inside their game, right? So if you're that rich that you can make stock market bounce, then you got that way by not paying people. I mean, there's no other way to gain that kind of wealth than not paying people, right? I mean, unless you are the genius that came up with some particular product that everybody has to have, you know, that no one had before, like whiteout, right? Right? Right, that's a product that everybody had to have with typewriter.
Or blackout,
right?
what they had in Texas last week, yeah.
A blackout. Yeah, they had a blackout, all right, yes. And it was white. No, that right there, but that was rich people again. That was somebody who had some type of stock market thing that, well, when X happens, then I get more money, and a bunch of snowflakes happen, and it was set up to do that, right? Where when you okay, we got another caller here, 645. If you want to be on the line, press 1 on your phone, and I will include you in the conversation. This is Your Fault for Listening. Science Monday. If this, then that, or if this, then what? Whole math and why white people are mad. Part 1. I'm opening up 646 right now. Hold on a second. I would have been quicker with that if I didn't have the microphone in my hand. 646, your line is open.
Hey, Travis. It's Carmela.
Hey, this is Carmela. Carmela, Jen is on the line from the past. Carmela and Jen both were on at least 100 episodes of Funny to the Moon. That's
hey,
Tony
Carmela.
Zamboni.
Hey, Jen.
What's up?
And
Hello.
he's here. And Lydia is our current our replacement for Tana. How about that? Until he returns from wherever he is. Okay. So I know that's a lot of pressure, but don't worry about it.
I'm almost 4'9", and that's some big shoes right there. So let's be careful.
4'9"?
You know what?
Yeah,
that's a good title
4'9".
for a book right there. That's a good title for a book.
Geez.
Almost 4'9".
That's a good title for a coffee table. Coffee table.
I'll be 49 this year too.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay, so check this out, Jen.
You were saying the age. I thought you were 4'9". My bad.
No.
Sorry.
I was saying I am 4'9". I am 4'9", legally, identifiable.
Oh, so I was
49.
So my joke works. Perfect.
Yes, it did. No, she was laughing.
Yeah, that
she was laughing.
Classic. Best I've heard.
Oh yeah, she liked it.
So, Jen, the person who's turning 49, here's a little tip in your preparation for the future. One of the coolest things as you get older, you have your 50th birthday, and then you have I'm 50 again, and then I'm 50 again, and then 50 for the third time, and then 50 for the fourth time, and then you double nickel.
Hey.
I'm picking these
That's
notes
where I'm at.
because I just turned 44, so I have a few years until I have the 50th birthday umpteenth times, right?
Right. No. Right now, you should be having 40th birthday parties until you're 50, because nobody want to come to a 47 party, because that'll make their ass depressed. This is Funny to the Moon on Your Fault for Listening.
30.
Oh, please, listen to y'all. Here's the last show we did about Lady Gaga's dogs, dropping bombs, cross-eyed moms, and white people.
You're going years about white people.
Well, yeah, you got to do it.
Remember, mom.
Well, this year, a few years ago on Funny to the Moon, we decided that White History Week would be the last week of January before Black History Month. But this year, because of the insurrection and all of that, and just starting the show now, I think we should make March White History Month because white people make black people march.
Perfect.
I just wrote
coincides
that.
with Women's History.
And it's
Women's History
yeah, that's
Month.
when the weather is ups and down, up and down.
Hold on.
Kind of
So Women's
bipolar.
History Month is March?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, then we're going to pick.
Well.
Then I'm going to Red Fox. Then we're going to have to pick July.
July.
No, wait. I thought White History Week was around Baldwin's birthday in August.
Okay, we can do that too because remember that's why we did it in the first place because James Baldwin in the his speech to the press club asked for he said a modest proposal. White History Week. The answers to these questions are not in me; they're in your history. He's such a beast. On our last episode of this, Tony and I were talking to a guy who, he's like half white, half Mexican, and he's a rapper. I read my father's poem to him, which is like a minute 28. It's the one I read as Darth Vader to at the protest. Jen, you didn't know about that, did you, Jen? So, Jen, I'm just tell y'all this, then we go back to the real topics. Jen, I went down to the protest because a lady told me that in New York at the protest for George Floyd, they had the Joker showed up, and in Philadelphia,
really,
yeah, and in Philadelphia, Batman showed up with smoke, and there was a skinny Spider-Man somewhere in the country, and so Leah, an artist friend, she said to me, she told me that, and I was like, well, you know what? Then Seattle's going to get Vader. So I had her put I Can't Breathe on the Vader mask with the teardrop on it, right? And then I went down to the protest with the Vader music, bum, 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 bum. And then I grabbed a megaphone, and I'm dressed like Vader, and I just went, silence yourselves. And then I went, nearly 60 years past, King dreamed, free at last, yet and still against King's will, 400 years, and oceans of tears. We tilled your soil and picked your fields. We built your cars and milled the steel. We danced and sang, enriched your lives at every turn. We felt your knives. We fought in wars, defending rights we were never given. With all we've done to make things better, we're just barely living. Today, we read the voice of a black human being, George Floyd, whose fatal sin was his dark skin. Same old story, again and again. His life taken by those sworn to protect and serve, a travesty no family should expect nor deserve. With a lack of empathy and no hint of sympathy, Mr. Floyd's life was snuffed out and taken in an evil blood as he cried for his mama and called his killers sir. We must stay strong and get along to build a better land. If we remain divided and hate each other, our nation will not stand. And I just walked the fuck away. Didn't say shit about me.
Yeah. Yeah.
Wow.
You started reverbing there a little bit, though.
I know. It sounded like somebody was washing dishes for a second, and then I thought they was cleaning the garage.
I am washing dishes.
You have to understand, people. This is the Working Class Podcast. Your fault for listening. People do work on this show.
What were you?
I can't cook in a dirty kitchen.
Making some apple pie or something.
I know. Apple pie.
Oh no. If you ever
no apples.
I make
no
bull. I make
pie.
Listen. I make Tony's booze pie.
Booze pie.
I make apple booze and cherry booze pie.
What is the booze? What is the booze?
Usually whiskey. Cinnamon whiskey.
That sounds boozy.
I mean, it would sound boozy if there wasn't a thing called apple pie moonshine that, like, you know, it's.
That's where it started. Was Jimmy Johnson's apple pie moonshine in Charlotte, North Carolina. Don't get me twisted now.
That's the bomb.
But I'm on this side of the Ohio River, okay, and I can't get that shit over here.
I'm in moonshine land in Tennessee.
Yeah.
Hey, I got plenty of family in 10.
Okay.
So is that what they call it there?
I watch where I drive.
Do they call it
the Chapman Redmonds?
In Tennessee, do they call it? Do they call it 10? I never heard that before. That was deep.
Yeah, they call it the 10.
Tennessee.
Yeah. Yeah, you just gotta when you're driving around, you just as soon as you hear the banjo music playing, you just gotta leave town. You know, just keep driving.
Sundown, they got sundown laws.
Bang, bang, bang.
Straight up.
Are you saying that they didn't have colored and white water fountains in Tennessee? They had nigga, you better not think about getting a drink.
Yeah.
Damn
that
straight.
Kind of
yeah.
I heard that.
This is home
I heard that.
12.
I heard that Missouri. Was the only state in the United States. I heard that Missouri was the only state in the United States that did not have an indigenous person reservation.
Wow.
Because they either ran them all off or killed them all off, and I'm like, woo.
They killed them. They ran them all up. That's Oklahoma. That's why they all live in Oklahoma.
Uh-huh.
I'm sorry.
Well, Oklahoma was the roundup spot from the Trail of Tears, you know? Like, that was all the southern tribes. Yeah.
That was
they were bound up, like all the East Coast natives and from South.
Yeah, that was my family. My grandmother was born in Clarksville, Texas, and then my mom was born in Oklahoma City. I got a whole bunch of family in Watonga, Oklahoma.
Yeah, I got a bunch of job offers in Oklahoma, and everybody's all like, come move to Oklahoma. And I'm all like, I don't know.
Hey, well, everybody, look, the tornadoes then moved all over the country. It ain't just in Oklahoma no more.
Yeah, I don't like bacon.
When Port Orchard get a tornado, shit.
Yeah.
It's everywhere.
No.
Once there's another, I may consider it if there's another Black Wall Street there. I may come. Otherwise, no.
Oh,
yeah.
Well,
speaking of that,
reparations is coming, people.
Jen, we had a lady on, and Carmela and Lydia. Tony and I had a lady on the other day, and she started telling us about how the Klan sends out a newsletter these days to police officers that are in their group, and that when they instead of saying nigga, they say Canadian.
I'm not surprised.
No, that's the code word now. That's the code word.
In Philly, the Proud Boys mixed in with the police department, and the police department had a party with the Proud Boys the day Mike Pence came in the summer. And they had these lovely memos that were going out and about their little party and how proud they were of the Proud Boys coming through and trying to scare off people and whatnot. But yeah, they had a big old party in North Philly, of all places.
Hey Tony, mute yourself when you're not talking. Number one, number two. What?
Okay, sorry.
What are the Proud Boys proud about? What are they proud of? I don't even get it.
They're not proud of themselves, that's for sure. But it's a shame. There's a bar. I don't think they've reopened between COVID and the windows getting smashed repeatedly. But the Proud Boys would set up in this bar to indoctrinate people. And the bar owner was quite proud of himself. He got called out publicly, repeatedly. He was like, I'll bring in whoever I want. And then started crying when his windows were getting smashed. And not a one of them Proud Boys stuck up for him.
Well, you're talking about a group of cowards. So, of course they will.
But that's exactly what they are.
So I'm coming up with titles for upcoming episodes of Your Fault for Listening. How about You Ain't White Enough Somewhere? or you know what I mean? Because
you ain't white enough on Wall Street.
there you go. You ain't white enough for Wall Street. You ain't white enough for Wall Street. They're not white enough for Wall Street.
I mean, the only person that's ever called me the worst type of white was another white person.
Really?
So,
and what did you say to them?
I mean, there was a plethora of things I ended up saying to them, Travis, because, of course, that wasn't the main point of the conversation. But usually it's like the need to discredit whatever white person, whatever Karen in the situation that I get called in like a bat signal for. When a white person discredits another's white person's claims to validate racism or to say that it's, you know, racism exists everywhere or to make all of these excuses, like for me personally, that's my responsibility to call out. And so I have found that there's no real arguing with these people. Most of them, I would not say were radicalized. These people were bred in their homes for allowances of hatred and to have some sort of ideal that they are better than other people because they are white American. So I always say the one thing that I feel like pisses them off the most, which is I say, may those you love be protected from your stupidity, and may your grandchildren be brown and gay.
Yeah, because you're right. Maybe somebody was telling me about how their brother was really racist, but then he got a mixed grandchild, and he loves that grandchild. And I was like, well, he's trying. You know what I mean? And then the conversation went to like about how much he loved Limbaugh or something, and I was like, well, he really is trying then,
Yeah, whole other type of trying. Sound like Mitt Romney.
Yeah.
Mitt Romney was not standing for black people until his with his daughter adopted a black child.
Yeah,
none of that. Black people.
None of that even means that much to me. I mean, slave owners had black children, so I mean, none of that.
They sold them.
I mean,
they sold them. They hung them.
But they don't care.
They burned them alive.
So that person may be looking at that person may be looking at his grandchild as like a little pet, not like a human. Who knows what they're thinking?
Think about that. How about that?
I know that they get offended by that ideal. Like it seems to really like ruffle the feathers of a lot of white people when I say that. And not a single one of them ever come back with, I do have a mixed race, child or grandchild. No, I never hear that when I say it.
Some of my friends are black.
And, like, that's my hope is because I acknowledge that, like, there's probably very little way that a white person can honestly, in a social setting, understand what it is like to be a person of color. We cannot really understand in a professional setting what it is like to be a person of color.
But what you can understand is what it's like to be an earthling. And so because you know what it's like to be an earthling, then that is where empathy comes from. The empathy comes from wondering, why is this other person here not being treated like an earthling? Like that would be like the story of you. Like you don't have to tell it right now at all, but that's like the story of your son at the water park when he was there with the black woman, right? Lydia's
for their
son,
birthday party.
Yeah, Lydia's son went with a black woman to a birthday party at with some black folks to the water park with the water slides.
Mhm.
She don't have to tell that story right
now. Was that you reverbing, Travis?
No, that wasn't me. That was somebody else. They probably know who they are because it keeps coming and stopping and starting, and they can control themselves. Here, just so you know, Jen, as I was telling you a story earlier about how I met Lydia and what she does, and when I found out what she does, I thought it was so honorable that I actually went to her kid's birthday party as Darth Vader. Lydia threw like a food fight party for her child.
Oh, cool.
right?
I
Where they were
throw
throwing like
annual food fight every year for my child because it's therapeutic to throw shit at your child, but it's illegal unless you make it celebratory.
I didn't know that's why it's genius.
No,
That's
I mean,
genius.
there's a deeper
I'm messing
meaning.
with you.
He was failure to thrive, baby. He didn't want to eat, and he almost died when he was first born. And that's kind of been like a contention between he and I through most of his life. He's a picky eater, and I never thought I was going to be that mom with that kid, but I am. He's allergic to peanuts. He has asthma. He's that kid, you know. But no, go ahead. I mean, do you want to tell the water park story, Travis?
I don't have it in my mind crispy enough to. I would disrespect the story. I would lose all the details. You don't have to tell it right now at all. We can save that sometime when you want to record that story. So let's talk about whole math. No. Any other topic?
Whole bath? You know,
no,
like
whole math.
Or, okay.
Whole math. Well, no, look. Very, very rarely do we have three women whose minds I respect, and I'm sure Carmela's sitting there right now wondering, what in the hell is whole math?
You know I am.
Yeah.
So I'm going to be quiet and let you take over with whole math.
So lately I have consistently been put in situations where I had to evaluate how women currently feel empowered in life. And the finances in life kept coming about. And it came to like these two ideals, which was either robbing motherfuckers or sucking their dicks for cash, right? Like these were the two options that easily seemed to present themselves. Sometimes it was empowered, this like take men for all their money. Sometimes it was this other thing where it was like, this is my support network, my man, he's my security. So when I say hoe, I mean it encompasses wife work too, right? Different pay grade. And that's part of the whole math that you're doing in your head consistently. Because even if you are a sex worker or you are not a sex worker as a woman, someone has definitely offered to pay you for sex. You have definitely thought at least once in your life about, like, is this the month that I have to take it to the chin to pay the fucking bills? And the different ways that we make decisions in life that are very numerical. Women spend a lot of time in life finding security and money and stability by their aesthetic, by being purchased, right? Vanity is probably not the best term for it because I think that women have been taught time and time again their value is in their ability to be consumed, right? That made me nervous as a concept because I was like, why don't dudes do it then? Like, if that was a way to really acquire true wealth in life or to, like, get yourself up and out, why don't dudes sell their assholes all the time? So the best home math I can do is that it is better to be rich than it is to be pretty. And dudes figured that out a long time ago, and that is complicated home math. So that's the basis of that topic for me.
There's a lot of truth in that. A whole lot of truth in that.
Makes me nervous when I get a deadline like that, ladies.
Yeah, I'm saying, you know, that's
well, I damn
so
sure was not
that...
going to be a man jumping in first on whole math.
You know, and the sad thing is that, you know.
Oh, hello, back to the group. Done the washing dishes. Yeah, I got to stop you on that. You ever been to West Hollywood?
I mean, not
plenty of dudes out there doing exactly what you're talking about.
Okay, that's a good point, Tony. That's a good point, Tony. And what I would say to that point is I did say when all the Me Too stuff started, when is the gay Weinstein stories going to pop up? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I started thinking about it, but I figured it out. It is really hard. It's really hard for a man.
Let's go
wait.
For a
There's this
second.
punchline.
It's not just the gay one. It's not just gay.
No, but I'm saying. No. I just want to throw the punchline out still.
Listen to what he's saying.
The punchline's coming here, and then y'all can tear it up. I said it'd be hard for a man in court documents or in a court case on the stand to say, and then he made me let him suck my dick. You know what I mean? How do you do that? I mean, but on the other hand, worse shit than that happens, right? So it ain't just like that. Like somebody might think a Catholic priest is just rubbing his stuff up against somebody while they're taking the sacrament, right? It's way worse and more sinister than that. And that is kind of, so go back to your topic, because I don't want to share your topic.
Damon.
So please let the other ladies.
Now, you know, oh boy. Huh?
Tony and I really should let the ladies continue talking about whole math for a few minutes. I mean, please.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Sorry.
I mean, if
I
they
just
have
wanted to get
opinions
in
on it, like I'm open for it.
I totally understand, but you were saying like, why don't men do it? I was like, they are.
I mean, men do it, but
that's all I was putting in.
The percentage of male sex workers, even in the porn industry, is like a modicum. I mean, it is so fucking small of a percentage versus the availability and the viability of women for sale in this country.
Yeah, you got to let her finish her whole point.
Predominantly,
you're right,
men
you're right. Look,
are
it's
the
minuscule,
right? No matter what they're purchasing, they are the ones who are purchasing.
And to add to your point to add to your point there, Lydia, even the men who marry men for money, it is minuscule compared to the women who do that for a dude who just got health care. Right. He's just the one with the most money on the block or the area. You know what I mean?
Maybe she was just bad at math, or maybe she was really good. Maybe she was in like Excel ho calculus. I get it, but I call it.
Or she got divorced and took all the money.
But also think about this. Sometimes a woman can be tricked by, included in that math is trigonometry. Meaning he just happened to tell her some sweet nothing that she ain't never heard from nobody else. And then and that's why she hooked up her caboose to a bank safe that ain't going nowhere. You know what I mean? Ain't gonna have nothing in it ever. You know what I mean? Because it was I'm sure in Hollywood there are people who got planned. I'm sure that
it's not even just about being rich, Travis. Like there's women that do this thing where like they give a lot just to have basic necessity in life, and they romanticize it and they play it up as a lot of different things, but it's their base security needs that have to come before their ability to be an equal in their partnerships. And like my thing to women is like, make your own money, girl. Make your own motherfucking money.
One of the coolest things a woman ever said, one of the coolest things I ever heard a woman say was she said that her father was like a womanizer, right? And she just watched this. And she decided that she was going to be the one to pick. She wasn't going to be chosen. She was going to be the one to pick. I thought, ooh. And then I thought that was really deep. And then I heard this other older woman schooling a younger woman once about sugar daddy stuff. And she said, be careful, girl, because it's all fun and dandy till daddy wants some sugar.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And then also, if daddy owes somebody some money, he might have to sell sugar. And I was like, woo, dang. It really like some woman needs to tell every woman that shit. You know what I mean? And that probably thing happens. But anyway what happened, man, is so minuscule that it's like talking about men with calf implants versus breast implants. It ain't really worth talking about. You know what I mean? Okay. We will come back to whole cakes and whole math.
I guess that it's over for whole math. Whole math.
Let me say something on that. Like I said, there's a whole lot of truth to what was said, because if you look at how, especially in the U.S., and I would say, in the 20th century, how they kind of, especially with the age of television and stuff, how they portrayed marriage is that the woman needed to do whatever to get her security from the man, and the security came, in the form of the man had a job with benefits.
Right.
He had a pension. He had this, he had that, so that should he pass, there's something for the woman to get at the end of it. You know.
Oh,
so
damn!
you
Women
apply all
outlive
that to that.
men more, and that's what you got to bet for. That's like, man, that's rough.
Well, see, that's the whole thing. Okay, then you're talking about the longevity of life. Okay, longevity. See, part of the reason why the male takes on the harder role is because he takes on the role of taking all the stress of the family, the harder part of the stress. And everybody here will go, wait a minute, I say, yeah, I understand. Some of them fail, okay? But a lot of that stress, I mean, just put it like this. You hear a sound in the house. Do you go, honey, I got this, and get up, or do you tap him? You know what I mean?
I'm
men
first
have
to
to
the door with
provide,
my fucking.
are supposed to be, you know. I mean, as far as the U.S.
Hey, my guess is
concerned,
Lydia be at the
men
door
are
with a brick.
supposed to provide,
Bust a kneecap.
supposed to provide and protect, right? They're supposed to provide,
okay.
protect.
So Tony, so maybe right in there you could say most men, you know, are expected to provide and protect. Now you might make some money, but that don't mean you can kick everybody's ass.
Exactly.
You know, okay.
Yeah. I mean, I'm trying to come with facts, not jokes. But yeah, we can go.
But how about
all
this?
day
But to go back to what Lydia was saying. So yeah, whole math might be no math, and just somebody trying to get out of an unsecure situation to being with somebody who looks tough that might be able to protect them from what was already happening.
Yeah, you got to take that.
Here,
yeah,
I'm going to bust in the
in
Cosby
consideration.
on you. Here, really do. It might just have been someone trying to see someone with the muscles and think they can protect them from the stuff in the home. Yeah. Think about it. There are some women. How about this? There are some women and men, or mostly women, who could be in a situation at home where their mom is kicking their ass on the regular, and they got to get the fuck up out of there. How about that? Yeah. Okay, or their dad is kicking everybody's ass, or brothers run loose around the house. You know what I mean? It could be anything.
Dude, or brothers are touching them. So there's families that do that shit too.
Right, and she maybe has enough, I don't know, for the family to not fuck up the family, but just gonna try to get the fuck away from there. You know what I mean? Because she ain't got no, younger siblings. Who knows what it would be? Anything could happen.
I mean, maybe it's simpler than that. Maybe it's that conversation where you say, you know what, I don't really think it's okay that you talk to me like that, and they're like, well, I pay all the bills here, so I guess I get to talk to you how I want. Like,
and now
that's
life hits
in,
and you're stuck.
In home act, you know.
Yeah, because right there,
this expectation that like dudes are gonna like take care of everything and be the tough ones.
You know what's funny about that?
I feel like a lot of women weigh out what they're willing to give up for that, like what they're willing to give up for their safety and their security. And I think that's a type of equation that I don't think men have to make very often. I don't think men have to do home math.
I think these days they do. Like, it'll be like, if I give her some dick, can I sit here and play video games all day while she's at work?
I mean, okay, so that's a little true.
No, but Travis, that's a hobosexual.
Oh, damn.
Hey, that shit is going on hard right now because it's tax time.
She said homosexual. Oh, my goodness. Lydia, did you hear homosexual?
Hey, I understand you gained 50 pounds during the pandemic, but you still sexy to me, baby.
No, but think about this. Think about the people who think about people when the pandemic started. They were in between spots, stuck in limbo as a hobosexual. You know, like comedian Ty Barnett said. Like comedian Ty Barnett said, he said, I can't buy a house with a big dick, but I can stay in one for a while.
Yeah. Hey. Let me jacked up. Somebody decided to burn a bridge just like 2 days before the pandemic. And she kicked you out. I got all your shit sitting on the floor.
Oh, you want me to work hard all day? You play video games all day? You go fuck somebody else? All right, motherfucker.
And then the pandemic come and nobody, they like, nigga, you ain't got no mask on. You ain't coming in my house.
See, but the problem is hobo math ain't as really good as hoe math, because hobo can be turned out at any time. Like, it can just be bye. It can be quick. It can be, a couple nights, weekends.
Okay,
right.
So I have to interject at this point, and I'm sorry for any man that feels objectified in this statement, but as a woman who has hustled weed for a living for the past fucking 10 years, I can absolutely tell you that those motherfuckers better be slinging some grade A motherfucking dick to play video games on my couch. And even at that point, there are a million motherfuckers with grade A dick that want to smoke my weed and eat my pussy. So you actually have to respect me, too, which thins the crowd a little bit more. Like, you got to have some manners and shit. You know?
Right.
Again,
right. You know what? You're right. You're saying this.
You go.
You're saying that dick don't equal room and board. You better be washing, drying, and putting them away.
I'm not grateful for dick. Boys have been trying to sling it at me, and I've been shucking it since I was a kid. Like, I mean...
Yeah.
And men figured out how to make women superfluous as long as they could purchase what they wanted. So I was like, oh, that's the equation. You just got to be the one to have the money, and you get to set the game. You get to say how you get treated in life.
You've been watching Claws and shit, ain't you?
No, I don't.
I've been living Claws. I've been living Claws within this motherfucker.
Claws is a show. Wait, Tony. Claws, no,
go ahead.
She said, what is Claws? We immediately go right and explain what Claws is. Claws is a show I haven't watched, but I watched the trailer for it. So I'm gonna guess it is shit talking women in a nail salon making money, mixing with drugs and shit, and one of them knows karate.
All that. Yeah.
Really? I just guessed karate.
No. They just bossed up. They just bossed up and took over.
I mean,
at first
I also
they was
do
just
residential painting and turnover for a living, so my nails aren't that great. So I don't know if it's applicable.
Yeah, but Lydia.
I'm talking about the boss part about it. I had nothing to do with
Tony. I don't know if you can hear her when she's talking or not. Okay. But you gotta
let her talk. Okay.
Yeah, you gotta let her just go. Shit. And I don't mean let. What I'm saying is here. You didn't. I explained to you at the beginning of this. Lydia is the baddest motherfucker on the show right now, including myself. Okay.
Damn it.
And what I mean by that is this. Okay. What I mean by that is this. Tony, when I first met her, I was taking her and two of her friends to a comedy open mic, and I'd never met her before. And Leah just said, "Hey, Lydia wants to come with us. She wants to try comedy." And I said, "Okay, cool." So we go pick her up, and we were in the car driving from Seattle to like Renton, and we were passing downtown Seattle, and she just out of the blue in the black said, "I hate white people." And I'm like, who is this motherfucker? Here, I like this motherfucker already. And then we talk, and then she does cannabis hospice. Okay, so like somebody's dying and they don't want pharmaceuticals and they don't want to like fade away, in and out with pharmaceuticals and shit. They want to,
I mean, there's a lot of people, Travis, that use pharmaceuticals too, but it's definitely an aid in cancer treatment and later life therapies. So So when she said that, and that's being like a death doula, right? But with cannabis and changing people's stuff and being there when they're at their loneliest, I just said to her, I'll do anything you need. I'm your huckleberry, right? And then she was talking about how she throws her kid a food fight birthday party every year, and when she said that, I said, well then I'm gonna be Darth Vader at the party. I went over there, and I didn't know it was gonna be a food fight for like 15 minutes straight. Like those kids like jacked me up.
Wow.
They tore me up with with like
Fucking
colored
glorious.
Colored oats and colored potatoes, mashed potatoes, and pies. And
that would have been so much
y'all
fun.
ever seen Hook? The movie Hook with Robin Williams?
Yeah.
Back in the day?
No.
Yeah. So there's a food fight
back
in that.
in the day, yeah.
Yeah, that I was like, I want to recreate this, and I did. So I color mashed potatoes and cream pies and like spaghetti and Jello, and like it's disgusting. It's so gross. But now my kid's turning 14, so on top of that, I think I have to start adding like foam machines, DJs, and strippers or something. But it'll forever be a food fight, you know, as soon as the COVID thing.
Right. Yeah. Right. Right, yeah. That COVID thing messes up everything. But
flying,
so I went
like
over there.
Double Dare, like back in the day.
Yeah, like that. But Jen, it was like 15 minutes straight. I'll have to put I'll change some of the pictures of this episode to the food fight so that people can know. I mean, it was just wild. Like, it was one of the coolest things I've ever seen a mother do for a child. And when you know that she did it every year, and every year they took it up a notch. And so the last one, she really had a DJ. The last one I was at, it had a DJ, and when you wash your dishes again in our ear, mute yourself.
My bad. Sorry. Got it.
Just mute yourself. That's all you got to do.
All right, I got it.
You have to understand, people come on the show, and this show's a long show.
I know.
We go and go and go.
I'm trying to make the ghetto pudding for the family.
Go ahead, Lydia. So anyway, back to whole math.
I'm just enjoying hearing him have domestication skills. It's refreshing. Thank you.
Okay, so there you go. So you're saying that if somebody
apparently
wants to be a
men
homosexual
cleaning
in
is
your
my
world,
ASMR.
ASMR. What's ASMR?
Basic life skills.
Oh, okay. I don't even know what that could be.
That's sad that it's so sad when people think, "Oh wow, they take care of the kids, they wash dishes, they do laundry." Those are basic life skills.
You don't even understand how many times I've heard dudes slip up and be like, "I gotta babysit my kids," and I'm like, "Bro, you're not babysitting your kids.
Parent your kids. Parent your own kids.
Fucker."
Right, teach them something. Play Uno with them. Teach them how to do math. You know, I found that when I babysat people's kids, and they were like, damn, and you know, in that age where they don't know math yet. One of the things that can give them the desire to play math. Why do I have an echo? They have give them the desire to play math is to play Uno, and then when they see you counting your score, they want to know how to count their own score.
I did that as a kid.
You said what?
I did that as a kid. I would count, and when I first played, I would watch how people counted scores, like in that and Scrabble and whatever
Monopoly
games that. Yeah, just to watch them count, and I wanted to figure out how these scores were racked up. That's how I got into math.
So you actually Monopoly actually is the game created by, I don't know the woman's name, but she created it to show that capitalism does not work. How about that? Yep. All right. So okay. I think we've done now an hour and 4 minutes. And so my question is, why are white people here we try this again. Your fault for listening. Science Monday. Next topic, why are white people mad? Part 1. Why are white people mad? Anybody? Is that a they ain't got no reason to be mad? Collectively.
I wanna let anybody chime in before the white lady talks about why white people are afraid.
No. Why are they mad? You know, are you mixing up afraid or mad?
The ones with money or the ones without?
Well, my answer is that white people aren't actually angry. They are afraid. Those Proud Boys, all these white supremacists being raised in white supremacy, it comes down to white fear. And the white fear is that eventually white people are going to be a minority. And they're going to be treated like we have treated other fucking people. It is because of our own inhumanity to others that we are afraid. And so when the topic of like what we as white people have done to other people of color, white people get real defensive, especially generationally. They like to be like, no, that wasn't me. I didn't own slaves. And how do these other people even know that they're descendants of slaves?
Word.
But you benefit from it.
That's real white people shit I hear in white circles because I'm white. And white people will let that shit slip to another white person in a way that in social diversity they would never speak.
Yeah, can I explain a little bit? Can I go with there?
Go.
Can I go there? Can I go there? All right.
Yep.
So it's all about I told you a story about the black people. It was a whole bunch of black people. And then there were some albinos, okay? Consider them Irish because it's pretty close. The redhead, light skin, albino. All right. They went ahead and separated, and that's how white people was created. All right. Okay. So those people are the fear white people have is that they were totally wrong. And they just misconstrued someone saying something to them, and then now look at them. You know what I'm saying? They bombing people and taking over, and I'll lead the world. And it's like, dude, you guys are like 2. Everybody else is like 10, and we just being nice. You know? Everybody, we just being nice. Because y'all tripping, and we trying to let y'all calm down. I
really don't think they're afraid. I think they're just greedy.
So you think that? So wait. So are you saying that you think that maybe the greedy people are using the fear of the afraid people?
The greedy people. The greedy people are the ones that are the puppet masters that stir up the fear,
right?
Of like, oh, your brown neighbor is going to take everything from you. Your brown neighbor is going to hook up with your daughters, things like that.
So then we go back to the build.
No, let her finish. Let her finish, Tony. Let her finish, Tony.
Okay.
Meanwhile, the greedy ones are collecting the money. You know, they're collecting the fees for, you know, the Aryan Nation and the Proud Boys. They're collecting the fees for their political interests. They're collecting the fees
the NRA
and the
people,
tithes for their
the
church.
political folks.
Yeah, right. You know, so it's. I think they're just greedy. And the ones that are afraid are the ones without the money, and the ones without the power. Those are the ones that are
but think about it though. You got to have some money to do an insurrection. You got to be able to fly across the country or drive across the country. That takes money and time, and who has a job for the whole year. And so
I think that's the point that
exactly.
That
you ain't got no money.
Carmela in New York.
I think that's the point that's being made is that the greed is power, and those folks are the ones that are taking the money and orchestrating things like the insurrection. Like, as much as they orchestrated a lot of travesties that have happened just in this country alone, they also use that money for marketing, for their propaganda, which goes out through OAN, through idiots like Alex Jones, the Proud Boys, what have you, to instill fear in those white folks who don't have money.
Right, Rush Limbaugh, people like that. And so what happens is they have the same type of fear. So the same thing like a black preacher or some of these, I saw a thing where somebody, Elaine Brown, was correcting some error, like some black folks were saying that the Mexicans were taking our jobs. And she just said, when was the last time you had a job? What job? You and Pookie been sitting on the couch since the 80s. She said, how you going to be?
She said they're getting jobs that nobody wants.
Right. She said, how you going to be mad because Massa don't like you no more? She said, I'm not going to be arguing or fighting a Mexican over a piece of chicken. A piece, a tiny piece of a job I didn't want in the first place that was dehumanized.
That's why I left California.
Exactly.
I'm not fighting no Mexican over a piece of chicken.
But the greedy ones are the ones that stir up that argument. They're the ones who market that. Right. They're the ones who like, hey, if you don't want that Mexican person to take your piece of chicken or to take your moonshine or to take your flag or burn your flag, pay into this process where I can help market and I'll be your governor, I'll be your mayor, and I'll give you power. And I mean, it even comes down to like this argument over like this raising the minimum wage. There's a lot of poor white people that don't want the minimum wage raised because they don't want brown people to get. They don't want brown people to get.
Exactly. When she's talking, Tony, when you talk over her, it covers her up completely.
I'm sorry. Can you turn me down at all, or
no? I can't turn you down, but just mute yourself when she's talking, and it covers her up completely. But you're right. But so that's part of it. Good. But they're just.
I'm co-signing.
They've been. I know you are, but but it's when there's 5 people on the line. You gotta just either laugh. It's hard to co-sign with more than just co-signing in between their breath like a rapper would when the lead rapper is taking a breath. It's like 2 words. Like when I did when I said to her, I don't know. I said like 2 things, right, real quick, but it was like in a breath. Okay, but anyway, this is really good. I mean, really enjoying this. I think this is an excellent first Science Monday show so far because it is the science of, they're so unscientific, they can't see that, as George Carlin would say, the American dream, you have to be asleep to believe it, right? So they are, so somehow they mix in their hatred of brown people, right? Their hatred of foreigners, their religious zealotry to be anti-abortion, their love of guns, which feeds, which part of their fear stuff, and then you add in homeschooling, okay, and there ain't no way even to talk to some of these folks because you say certain words, and they've already been taught that those are trigger words to know not to listen to that person at all, right? So on one of the first interviews we got here on Your Fault for Listening is I interviewed Rick Overton. I asked him. Rick Overton was best friends with Robin Williams. He was in Beverly Hills Cop, Groundhog's Day, Willow. He was on the Showtime show. I'm Dying Up Here, which is about comedians in the 80s. And I asked him, the first question I asked him was, what's the difference between white privilege and white supremacy? And he said, I guess it's in the application, there are fair-minded people and there are pharaoh-minded people. And the pharaoh-minded person will do anything to continue their addiction to comfort. They'll create armies. They'll create talk radio stations. I'm just adding that right now is what we're talking about, to create create borders and armies and uninformed persons to carry their water. And then I asked him, how are people who think they're white weaponized against peaceful protesters? And he said, well, what do you bet they were homeschooled? He said, it might be okay to be homeschooled, right, if your parents are good. But if not, you got a dictator of information creating a violence bot.
Yeah, then when they go, then when they get picked up, they're taken out for like Burger King or whatever,
Exactly.
It's that same.
Yeah, that was a violence bot. Yeah, ain't that deep? Do you like the addiction to comfort analogy as well? Pharaoh-minded people and pharaoh-minded people.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so
all I got to say, I don't know. Like I said, all I got to say is that some of the first Romans was black in the first place, and they created a lot of the system that everybody rolls on. And I still come back to the same thing. How awful were we?
They were black. Okay, so look.
Yeah.
Well, maybe if some of these white people today knew that, then maybe they would stopped doing it. They knew they were following along.
If you
some
well, see, that's the whole thing.
Brown.
That's the whole thing. My wife tells me time and time again how if I go to Europe, all the statues are bronze or not white of Jesus, Mary, any of that. That everything, all the Bibles and stuff like that over there are bronze and stuff like that. They have nothing has the American version of the shit. It all is the original version in Europe. So if you get a chance to go to Europe and see some of the true culture, that might help.
Well, I think it depends on where. I've been to Europe, and I can tell you I've seen plenty of white depictions of Jesus and folks. But I think what you were talking about in terms of Black Romans were the Etruscans. And yes, some systems that are in place are based on some of the things that came from the Romans as well as the Greeks and such. So yeah, don't say it's all Europeans. A lot of these Europeans are worshiping white Jesus and other idols that are depicting, fair skin and.
It's been changed. I said it's been changed like everything's been changed. What are you talking about?
Continue, Carmela.
I'm sorry.
But I think
I'm sorry. Go ahead.
But I think we need to be clear that it's not like you go to Europe and all this stuff is what we're not. It's not like that. We have to remind ourselves that the other, I want a word other stronger than colonializing America was coming from white folks in Europe bringing that shit over here to eradicate indigenous people and then to use Black and brown people as commodities. So let's not give Europe so much credit, because that's not the fact. I just want to make sure that we're clear on that.
I wasn't saying that I was giving them credit. I'm saying that the original Europe was just a parcel of Africa that broke off, contained some of the strongest Black leaders and educated people, like the Romans and stuff like that, before what you see as what America has depicted as the Greeks and the Romans and stuff like that. The original, okay, we're African just like you and me, or not. But I'm just saying that I'm not saying that they started doing the radical stuff that is coming about now. Okay, like I said, the Roman Catholic Church has all the information, and then they run stuff. Okay,
Tony, I'm gonna make you listen to this shit later on. Okay, because let me see how to say this. When she said the Tuscans or whatever the name of the people,
Etruscans.
Etruscans. See, okay, good. All right. So I had never heard of that. I wanted to hear about the Etruscans, but I don't know how any of this is helping us. Talking about Black people originated whatever, but we're 700 years from that, 900 years from that, 1,000, 2,000, 2,500 years from that. Why are white people mad today? Because they ain't mad because some African did something 2,500 years ago. They're mad because of what they were taught in their lifetime.
They're mad because they bought into revisionist history. They were made to buy into revisionist history because a lot of
so now you're agreeing with Tony.
Money. Well, no. I'm saying there is such a thing as revisionist history. I mean, this is what we were taught in school through revisionist history.
History. You don't have to agree with shit. It's history.
What I'm saying is that the stories that we are told, especially in schools or in our churches or whatever, they have been. It's like a game of telephone, right? I start the message, and by the time it gets to the 1,000th person, the message doesn't match.
Right.
That's why
You're right. No, that's a very good analogy, Carmela. That's a very good analogy, right? So the Bible starts out with whoever the people that are in this book, and whatever this book says, and by the time King James gets a virgin,
right.
King James makes a version.
Gets a version. Yeah, that's pretty close.
And then the Goodwill version of the Bible, and you go on down, and then whatever happened at whatever meeting they had in 1541 that Robert Greene Ingersoll talks about. And then today, you got it to where they've changed the word slave to servant, and they've taken so in the Bible, when you look at like the old version of it, the word unicorn is in there 9 times, and the word dragon is in there 18 times. Okay, so somebody might say, well, unicorn was really like some kind of goat, but they can't explain dragon away like that, right? Because your book got dragon.
Hold on. They took out dragon, and they left virgin birth.
Yes, exactly. They left hiking on water in there.
Huh.
Right? They left a lot of things in there.
Dragons are way cooler.
They took the dragons out. They left in the virgin birth. They left in the part where if you are a slave, you got to stay being a slave, or there's reasons and rules to slavery. That include blaming the slave. Yeah, they got rules for raping women.
And power.
To blame the
Cipher.
They left in all
everything
all
that you read. Everything that you read about slavery.
Tony Jen is talking.
They left in all the things that breed greed and power, and ways to, basically turning it into an instruction manual on how to overpower people, how to colonize people, how to use people, how to kill people,
And the validity for it, or reasoning for it, or excuse for it, or justification for it, or glory even for it.
Right. And it all ties to money and power. Nothing broke the black community more than slavery, but at the same time, how did we continue to be enslaved to this day? Because of that book. It was beat into us. We were told.
Well, can I say something?
Go for it.
Well, wait till she finishes. You were told what? Jen?
No, we were given that book. We were told that the master was supposed to be collecting his riches on earth and in heaven, and then we're supposed to be in heaven being enslaved by them. But we're in heaven.
Right.
Still. Don't look for your riches on earth. Store up your treasures in heaven. When you die, that's when you're rewarded. And many of our folks still feel this way.
Well, think about during slavery times. Like slavery went on for 250 years or so, whatever the number is. But if you're in the middle of that, it must have felt, and that your whole existence felt like there was no chance to get out of it. You know what I mean? Like,
right.
What type of lizards are we chained up under? Tony, go ahead, Tony.
Oh shit! I get to say something.
Well, look, what I'm telling you is, I don't know how somehow you started talking like when Jim was talking, and he did it during Carmela. And this is not like a chastising thing, but I'm just saying, you couldn't hear them talking. I'm assuming.
I could hear them talking, and I was mostly agreeing with them, and I was trying to explain footnote. That's all I'm talking about. And I'm trying to footnote some of the stuff that they're talking about. And
we just wanted to complete our thoughts. That's all.
Yeah,
exactly.
I hear. Well, by the time you complete your thoughts, we on a different totally.
I know, but you gotta just wait. You have to wait because otherwise, so just so you know, Carmela and Jen both have come on the show 100 times.
100. Okay.
Yeah, they came on Funny to the Moon 100 times.
Don't understand the system.
Right. I'm just saying, yeah. So one of the this is the thing. So what kind of math would a hoe have had to do during slavery time? There'd be almost no way to have that kind of hoe math, because if somebody could just make new slaves and I don't see how hoe math used to be here. Let me start over again here. Let's try this. Try another angle on hoe math. What kind of hoe math is being done during arranged marriages? You know what I mean? Right?
Is this question for me?
Yes, it is.
Like, were you arranged? Are you arranged?
I mean, so this pisses everybody off when I say it, but fuck it. I include marriage as a doctrine of slavery. It's why I refuse to participate in the contractual agreement. It really doesn't have a whole lot other to do. Like, taxes are not a great example for me. There's no equivocal math. In slavery times, I imagine women had to look at men with that, like, are you healthy enough to stay alive? Because if you widow me, I'm broke. I no longer own anything, so I guess I have to go be a whore. Or I have to find a new husband who will hopefully now take me and my children. The survival concept for looking for a mate was still relevant during those times, and I imagine a man's worth probably included how many slaves he owned. I'm sure that was a choice for white women of some classes. Arranged marriages by parents, like that's a longer running concept of marriage than what we know now as the practice of marriage. Women themselves have been bought and sold for thousands of years through the passage from their fathers to their husbands, and then in prehistory to their sons even. Their sons became guardians of their estates, and we have made as women equivocal progress in a very short amount of time. And it came back to reproductive right. As soon as women, which this is like 100 fucking years, guys, 100 years. Once women started to be able to control whether they were just married and bred, and they had a choice to choose when they wanted to have children, women's rights actually became an issue, like politically, socially. You look at all of the births of feminism, of equal rights and pay or attempts at it, big social movements. These happened at the same time that different types of birth control became available. So hoe math has probably been always the way it's been, which is like, please don't let me die in childbirth. And like maybe if I pick one man over another man, I might live longer and my kids might have a better life. Pretty sure that's always been hoe math.
That is some deep hoe math right there. Well, think about once again.
That sounds like. I mean, I'm trying to understand like how, like what you're describing as far as hoe math sounds very a lot like slut shaming. But what's underneath that is patriarchy. And I'm trying to understand where you're going with this. Is it the woman's fault?
Is it the term hoe that throws it towards the slut shaming? Because that's not my intention at all.
Yeah, I'm wondering, it's like...
For me, it's the transactional guidance that comes in the term of hoe or prostitute and how that actually is managed more by security than necessary financial transaction. That really, in the end, like, hoeing it is a way to survive through selling yourself as a woman and your services.
So maybe the word
So it's
survival needs to be stuck in there.
So it's a branch of like survival and patriarchy and.
I would argue that, like, I mean, it sounds offensive, but I would just say that, like, women should probably normalize the idea that we all potentially are made hoes by the patriarchy. No matter what side of the fence we think we're sitting on, we're all in the same fucking pasture. Wife, prostitute, mistress, otherwise, we're all in the same. So my intention is definitely not to slut shame anyone.
Well, how about this? How about this? Expand the topic to men, and say that if you are a man who works in a coal mine, you're hoeing out your lungs. If you're a man playing football, you're hoeing out your knees. You know what I mean? Your spine. Basketball is your knees, right? If you lift in boxes every day at a place, man or woman, you are hoeing out your back, right? And when you do some hoe math using your back, you got to think about whether they're going to be walking crooked later in your life. How about that? Does that make sense? So, if the concept of everything is pimps and hoes, right? And then the whole thing is, can you pimp and hoe yourself so you can control your own destiny? Or can
I
you
arguably
choose?
disagree, Travis.
Go ahead.
From someone who's done construction and someone who's been penetrated, there are a lot of similarities. But, oh, damn, are there some differences.
Preach.
I don't know. I mean, while these both may be fruit, they are not. This is apples and oranges. I think at the end of the day, I think I wish I was the type of woman that every time a man said, yeah, like if somebody would pay me $100 to get fucked, I'd take it. And my answer always wants to be to like sling out $100 and be like, well, bend over, right? Other than I can't actually do that. Like I wouldn't be able to stomach myself to do that. But I think someone should maybe. The concept of allowing someone to share in your body being equivocal to using your body as a tool to make other tools work or to function. That's a hard leap for me, and I do hear the comparison a lot.
But,
okay, so whoever just did that caused the echo. But go ahead, Jen, or Carmela, whoever was going to say.
Yeah, also keeping in mind that a lot of this was built on what men wanted women to do. Women couldn't vote. Women didn't have agency over their bodies. Women were like viewed as cattle, and maybe some of these ideas were just passed down. I just know, like, the way I grew up in an environment that I grew up, I was told by older female family members, hey, don't come home with a with a wet ass and open and empty pockets. Like if you're gonna be with somebody who's gonna bring you some value in life. That sort of thing. So I understand that transactional piece, but
coming up tomorrow on Your Fault for Listening, wet ass and empty pockets.
No, can I give the saying, the actual saying? Can I give the actual saying?
Just do it. Just do it, Tony.
A dry purse and a wet pussy don't match.
Damn.
A dry purse and a wet pussy don't match.
Damn.
Yeah.
All right, I'm done. I'm out.
I think that
I'm mute.
I think that now today we have choices, but that same old way of thinking has been bred into us, ingrained in us. When my mother was growing up, what she had to look forward is, I'm going to be a teacher or a homemaker or a secretary or a nurse. Those were the choices. I've spoken with women who had it hard, even trying to get into law school.
My mother told me that my grandmother was mad at her because my grandmother wasn't allowed to go to nursing school, and she was.
Yeah, and that's working with the cards that you were dealt. But I don't equate that to being a hoe. You know, I look at that as dealing with the cards that you were dealt within a system of patriarchy that created the system in which women feel like they need to.
Okay, but here, how about this?
Stuff.
How about this, Jen? This is my joke about pimps. Okay, I said a pimp to me is anyone trying to get you to do something that benefits them more than you. So that means if you have a job at all, you're a hoe. And if your boss is the owner, that makes your boss your pimp. But if your boss is not the owner, that just makes your boss the bottom bitch. That's the hoe that the pimp trusts more than the other hoes. Sometimes kids pimp parents. With whoever's making the noise, mute themselves. Sometimes kids pimp parents. If you're a parent and you do what your kid wants you to do instead of what you should do as a good parent, your kid is pimping you. And if you do it because you don't want to hear the baby cry, that would make a baby's cry a pimp slap. And if a baby's cry is a pimp slap, we're all pimps, and we are. Every child, boy or girl, looks more like the father than the mother. That's nature's way of helping the baby and the mom pimp the father, and it's sticking around. Discovery Channel. So if that's all true, I said, who is the greatest pimp of all time? At first, I thought it was Hugh Hefner because men paid to see his women, knowing in advance they never touch him. But even greater than that would be Howard Schultz. Howard Schultz owns Starbucks, and he's actually convinced people they got to give him $5 on their way to work. Hey, before you see your pimp, you bring me $5. Right? So if you are doing something where you're doing a majority of the work but not getting a big enough piece of the pie, wouldn't that be hoe-ish? By the way, Lydia, I do agree with you with the using the holes versus being used as a hoe or a tool. I agree with that. That is a whole nother level that a guy selling his holes couldn't even begin to understand.
I can appreciate too the generational difference for women, and I can appreciate though that we're still on the same level when we talk about that, like looking for a partner that can provide for you was taught to you. That was a concept that was taught to all of us as women, and no matter how woke of a position that you even grew up in. Like I grew up with gay men through puberty, you know, but I was still told time and time again, like the main goal was to like grow up and find a nice boy who's going to take care of you. That's a common ideal, but it's still based on this idea that like women have to find a resource outside themselves to feed themselves and to make money. And granted, the choices are limited, but there still are so many choices now for women. There's so many other ways of empowerment, I feel like now. And maybe
Other
this is just a white lady
one
thing. I'm going to admit
right?
that.
No, think about it. What you're saying
I feel like
is
there's other choices now.
That mindset,
of like how to find what you want in life.
That mindset, what you're talking about is he the one? Okay, that could be a whole nother episode on a Science Monday. Is he the one? Let's do some science on that, right? And then you can just basically go off, why are you looking for the one? Be the one. Is that what you're saying without even act like
I mean, I'm just saying be self-financed. Like, make your own money. Like, as soon as that opportunity avails itself, rather than trusting someone else to provide for you. And there's so many deep, complex social issues that affect that ability, and I get that too. But a lot of times I'm sitting around in a room full of fucking white privileged women that are still making the choices to, like, search out men for, you know, like, they're thinking $75,000 a year is fucking, like, good times. And they would be offended by the term hoe too, because they don't, I would say, want to associate that survival through relationship or through transaction is a wide spectrum. I think that's what I would try to explain.
So are you saying then that the people who call people who sell their holes, that and basically you're just saying expand the definition of hoe, because yeah, and that's how I was trying to do. I was saying that look, if you're doing something you don't want to do to get paid, then that would be and you really don't want to do it, right? It ain't the same exact thing, right? But it's whole like. You know what I mean? Especially when you add in like the but it is a whole nother level, and I think it would be even a worse situation to be stuck, right, in a situation of being a hoe where you never have your own money, right? Like the extreme version of, we're gonna do whole math part 2, because I want to, because you got to. It's the mindset of the pimps that.
I'm open to a renaming on this topic. By the way, we can rename this. It's just whole math came easy.
How about whole survival math or something like that? Is that what's needed? What would you change it to, Jim?
I think it's the term hoe that's offensive.
No, Jim's not offensive. She's just a strong enough willed mind woman that, like you, that and Carmel. That's why y'all are even on the show. That's why y'all are part of the show. That's why I am thankful for the mind time, because we're just talking it out. And what I'm saying is, the way she challenged you was just that word. It seemed like that, and then once you explained one part of it, and then she went on with the wet, the wet ass and the dry purse, or I forgot how y'all said it or off the top, but
dry purse and wet ass.
Yes,
dry
exactly.
Purse. Wet purse.
Wet ass, dry purse.
Wet
Exactly.
Wet ass and empty pockets.
That was perfect, Tony. He said, damn. Okay, and so when you say it like that, okay, so I've heard stories about how some actor or not had to, I'll just say it like the person said it themselves. So on the Richard Pryor roast of the Richard Pryor show, right, on the dais, it had like Robin Williams, Marsha Warfield, Sandra Bernhardt, John Witherspoon, who was the father, like in House Party and on the Boondocks. Richard Pryor says to Paul Mooney, "What's the name of that director that we went up and fucked, and I got 2 movie roles?" And when he said that, what was so cold about it was, he was telling the truth, right? And so later on, Ronaldo Ray was telling the same story about how he went over to some director's house and how the director wanted to do stuff with him, and he didn't want to do it. So, but the director lived in Hollywood Hills, where he had to climb up, a long hill after you park way down at the bottom. And as he's walking down the hill, Richard Pryor and Paul Mooney were going up the hill. And then he said to Richard Pryor later on what happened up there. He said, we went up there and fucked that guy, and I got 2 movie roles. And so when I first heard that, I'm serious, about Hollywood, my first thought was, ain't nobody in Hollywood not on the casting couch except Stevie Wonder.
Yeah.
Because he would have been, in my mind, the only person with enough talent they couldn't deny him. And in the documentary about Motown, Berry Gordy said that all he knew when Stevie joined Motown was he could play that harmonica, right? So there you go. So anyway, but some star or somebody with some talent.
Shut up, dude.
Mute yourself, Tony.
Murphy. Oh,
Tony,
sorry.
mute yourself.
Yeah, I am.
So so I understand what you said when you said that about how it's different for a woman where if she's stuck in a marriage where she's stuck with bad hoe math, that is a far greater having thought it through equation right? Of longevity and horror and depending on what religion you're stuck in, he's thinking he can do a whole bunch of shit to you that nobody should be thinking they can do to anybody. And I think
people question the women who stay in those situations, not the monsters that help put them there and keep them there.
Yeah, well, think about this. Our world really does a lot of blaming the victim. We got to do a long episode on blaming the victim on Science Monday because it's unscientific to blame the victim. I think this caller right here, I'm going to try and check real quick. Caller, I'm opening up your line. Did that work? I'm trying to do it. It's I think it might be Sean, y'all. But if not, I'll close it back up. Sean, your line's open. It is?
Yeah, it is.
So, Sean, this is Sean Murphy, y'all. Sean Murphy is one of my first grade friends. He looks like
Sean.
the dude. He looks like the dude in what's the movie with Jeff Bridges? And Sean is a guy who he got kicked out of Lutheran school in 5th grade because he asked the teacher, "Why ain't there no Chinese people in the Bible?" Okay, and he came on Funny to the Moon for probably like 200 episodes. And so, real quick, I'm going to tell you who everybody is, Sean. On the line, we got Tony Zamboni, b-boy rapper, poet, extraordinaire, producer, Renaissance man. We have Carmela. You know Carmela with the, what's the name of the vegan thing that y'all do, Carmela?
We used to do vegan food chat. Now I just run a vegan grocery store.
You run? What's the name of your vegan grocery store?
Listen to y'all for an hour. Sounds interesting.
It's called V Marks the Shop. Y'all had Vegan Haven out in Seattle. I don't know if they're supposed to be reopening, but it's similar. So all the stuff in the shop has no animal products.
Okay, so check this out. I would love, if that's why you said what you said to me earlier, then I would love, and a lot of people a few people on the line would love to be a part of something like that. So Lydia is she's really huge in the cannabis world, and she does activism, and she does I don't know if you heard this part, Sean. She does cannabis hospice. Okay.
Well,
and
decent
and
thing.
when she said that to me, I said, hey man, I'm your Huckleberry. I'll do anything you want ever, because that's so honorable. And she is my first interview for Can I Get a Witness? Part 1, which we'll play in a couple of days on. We're going to start doing Wake and Bake Sundays. We're going to do Think Better Tuesdays. And we're going to do Wine Wednesdays. All right, Thinking Out Loud Thursdays and Funny Story Fridays. So right now I'm really loving the conversation about whole math, and it's really kind of deep. Basically, when you just hear about trying to empathize with somebody who's stuck in a like arranged marriage, whole math that you didn't do none of the calculation. You know what I mean? Calculations on it at all. Somebody did all those calculations for you. You know what I mean? That's like, whew. And I think what's really deep is when you watch like Game of Thrones, it kind of explains that part of it. And anyway, the reason why I brought up the arranged marriage and stuff in the first place, y'all, just for a little fun topic, just for a quick second that we can maybe use to promote this show and the other shows on the Your Fault for Listening network, is that Coming to America is coming out. Coming to America is coming out on Friday. And one of the coolest things I heard, and I started watching like all the interviews, because they ain't like giving away the plot in the interviews. They're just talking about what was going on the set. And one of the funniest things said was Eddie Murphy said, they asked him, what was the coolest thing on the set? Was it being with your daughter? Was it seeing your daughter on the same set as you? And he said, no, because my daughter, we practiced, we ran lines, I made her audition. He said the coolest thing on the set was looking over and seeing Morgan Freeman eating some clam chowder, talking about, and I can't do Morgan Freeman, but he said, "Is that lobster in my bisque?" Or how? Eddie Murphy did a perfect Morgan Freeman, and I'm just saying, wait a minute, Morgan Freeman is in this? Come on, how cool is that for Eddie Murphy to look over and see Morgan Freeman on the set of Coming to America? How cool is that? Is that a cool ass story, y'all?
Oh yeah. Like in the old one when he was with Red Fox and all them other ones and that one from New York.
Yes. Sorry.
It's a Harlem Nights, dummy. It's a
Harlem Nights.
It's a REDDFOXX period. Oh man, I love Red Fox. I was so anyway, back to home math, okay? Because home math is important to me too. And so home math is really rough because if somebody has the purse strings, man, that's and you got to do whatever they say. That's bad home math because sometimes with familiarity comes contempt. Quickly, you can see that like in Game of Thrones, right? Wife oversteps her bounds in some insignificant way, but she married to King Joffrey grown up, with Joker genes in full effect. And if yeah. Right, and if power corrupts absolutely, and if the Bible or other religions or ever just the marriage way people talk about it, a woman is under the rule and thumb of a man, then that, like Lydia was saying, getting married at all seems like a bad idea. One thing, and I'll just shut up, let everybody else go, is Carl Warmenhoven, comedy mentor, who at the Comedy Underground would play What a Wonderful World every open mic, so I could go up there and practice and sing over top of Louis. He one time told us that he was happily unmarried to his love for 29 years. Like they were together, lived together, but happily unmarried. And like Lydia said, it's a bad decision to a lot of people. Like Tana used to say on Funny to the Moon, marriage ain't got. Me and Tana were actually at a guy's house. She married him. She had 2 kids before they got married. Had 3 after they got married. And Tana was putting in a shower with multiple shower heads on it. And the dude came in there and he just said, marriage ain't got nothing in it for the man. All I do is take the kids to their games or shopping or take her shopping. That's all I do. So that was his perspective.
Okay.
Right?
I'm a married person. I could say no disrespect, but if I didn't fall for the yes, you need to be married and to be whole as a woman, you need to whatever, I've been perfectly fine. Back when I was a young adult, I was like, I'm never going to get married, and then I bought into this thing that I'll be married, and I was married at 30. I'm still married technically, but I kind of wish it didn't happen, because marriage in itself is a commodity. That's why you have people that would just throw all the money to just have a reception at like $50,000 or $100,000. I know some people that have done that. But and we're talking about math. It's all about numbers, really. Like how do you get the power? You have to make the numbers. You have to have the most numbers, really. It's the same thing. Like why you see people right now. It's very different. I know when I was growing up, all the adults I knew had been working at the same job for 20, 30 years.
Yep.
Now, you see people especially in the tech space, they're lucky if they make it past 2 years in a company on the corporate level. But they're still trying to chase the same thing that those folks who had the long-term jobs, they're still trying to chase the same thing. They're just going to multiple places to try to catch whatever little bit of security they can find.
They're trying to
That's
catch
why they live for
a company that goes on like a viral wave. You know what I mean? Like a company that a company that rises up the stock market and shoots to the top. You know what I mean? They're trying to live that Wall Street, and they're all doing like that backstabbing in the back. Trying to stuff and but I would bet that the pandemic has thinned out the skillless psychopaths. Okay, so if everybody's working from home, you can't copy off somebody else's thing. You can't steal their idea in the.
Let me tell you, as somebody that worked remotely for like 5 years, certainly people are shady as fuck, and they're gonna do whatever. So they will steal, even if you're not in their face. They will find ways to do it. They will scapegoat you. They will do whatever it takes so that they can get that promotion. They get a few more dollars. They do whatever. It's very cutthroat. It doesn't matter if you're in the face or not. Tell you stories. Maybe for one of those Fridays, I'll tell you a funny story.
Well then, hey, how about this? Just tell it now. I'll just give you the intro. You tell the story now, and then that way I'll use it on Friday. How about that? Here we go. Right. Carmelo with a funny story for Funny Story Friday on Your Fault for Listening.
Okay, so I've learned. I have to say I had a couple of really great bosses when I worked for a certain entertainment company that kind of set me straight and said, look, don't feed into this nonsense. Always look out for yourself. You're here to make money, you look out for yourself. So my last job before I left the corporate life to run my store, I was working remotely because I had moved to Philly. I had to take care of my mom, all this stuff. And because I set my terms, I said, I'm not going to take a 2-hour car ride for a 30-minute meeting. So this one person, she never did her stuff on the level. She skated by. She had a boss that believed everything that she said. And she was trying to get up to some director level. So something didn't go her way because she didn't follow the rules. And I said, I'm not doing your stuff. So she ran to whoever she could. I got a phone call at like 8 o'clock at night on a Friday from my boss asking me this most ridiculous question. Carmela, did you tell this vendor some nonsense? And I was like, I didn't say that. I didn't have that kind of conversation. Absolutely not. So he went back, and there was this whole email thread. Oh, well, we don't know because Carmela hasn't been in the office. We don't know what she's doing. Look at me. My partner can tell you, I stayed up until about 1 a.m. pulling 3 years' worth of email, everything that I've ever documented around this one vendor, and to prove this woman wrong. And I get a call, I think 9 a.m. on Saturday. That was a fun call. Like, so we have a lot of documentation to go through now because this woman is saying this, and this. I said, look, you got all my stuff. Have a good weekend, and I'll talk to you on Monday. On Monday, I pulled my email. I had nothing but apologies. Sorry for wasting your time. Sorry we got this wrong. Sorry we listened to this woman because she didn't do what she was supposed to do. So this is like all this cutthroat stuff. People want to say whatever and be trashy, and then they don't know who's on the other end. They think, oh, this is some fool that they're not in the office. They're just doing whatever. Like, no, you played with the wrong one. So up until I left, this woman was scared to be in any meeting with me, be it in person or over video conference or whatever, because she didn't want to hear me tell the truth. So she tried to find somebody else to be a
scapegoat. She kept her job?
Yep.
Oh, my God. All right.
Was she white?
Let's say
really?
Yes.
Really?
She will not identify as a person of color.
Wait.
She would not self-identify as a person of color.
She was white identified.
Yes.
White. There you go.
Herself.
You know what? That's a new title for a show. White identified. People gonna have to click to see what that is because they know.
Yeah,
I love it.
We got a couple. We got to do a show called White Identified and another one called Corporate Chicanery because me and Carmela could probably go for like days on that.
Yes. Can we also add in white inspired? Because I've been doing that lately too. I've been saying that to people. Actually,
I love it. White inspired. I love it. Hey, you know what's funny right now?
I was talking about food.
Hey, you know what's funny? I told y'all Lydia was good, right? But right now, when Lydia heard Carmela's story, Lydia knows Carmela's good. You know what I mean? Right? Right? Lydia knew that Jen was good the way Jen challenged her on the hoe, right? Right? And that was just really was deep. I'm just listening to it like I'm looking at it like I feel like I'm just watching it like I'm listening to the best radio show I could possibly be a part of, and that's why I kept cutting you off, Tony, because I was like, you know, this is kind of like this is the ladies, and they got their shit going, and in case somebody, we don't need to say shit right now because this shit was good, because they were going at it, and I wanted to see how the whole thing wound up, and then Carmela went and just went Hulk on the funny story, right? There you go. And that's what we call funny stories, corporate chicanery. There you go. White identified, right? I mean, those are great topics because remember, it's all about a topic that makes you want to click. Oh, by the way, Carmela, just to make you feel good about what we talked about earlier. Mm-hmm. I'm like a delivery driver in the Seattle surrounding areas, okay? And I walk around as Darth Vader, and so I know the places that, like the other vegan places. I got a whole bunch of ideas I'll talk to you about later on, but because also we know those people. I'm like and what if Art Vader delivered your vegan stuff to people? How about that?
Ooh.
That
right?
would be awesome.
Well, check it out. So check it out. This is how many. So like me and a bunch of like a couple high school basketball teammates and some other people that I know who play sports around here locally. One got played like different things. They're all delivery drivers right now. The people who still live here are delivery drivers. Okay, and we've been talking about doing our own delivery service, and that's enough. I don't need to talk about that anymore. Ta-da! So that might have filled in some of the holes in what you think about Seattle, because Seattle is Seattle. The reason why Seattle's perfect for that, it is organic. Here, I don't even want to say it. Lydia, and then Tony, tell Carmela why this is a great place to have a vegan restaurant here.
Because that's all they do around here. They don't go more than 6 blocks away to get their food around here. They get it ordered all the time, and there's no place to park, so you can't drive to go get your food.
And so therefore you got to have your meals delivered. So that is one place called Homegrown, where people order frozen, already made, vegan, locally sourced, or however it is, food, right? One of the chefs that's going to be doing a show on Big Funny TV, he does all this stuff locally sourced and has shit like that. It's the bomb, right? Lydia, go ahead. Tell her why it would be good to do that out here. She's in New York, but there you go. Lydia?
I mean, Seattle's just like the queen place of we want to be eco-friendly and trendy. And right now, while I understand, like, vegan food has made vast improvements, like, everybody out here is looking for the new vegan fix so that they can kind of socially say that they're being responsible and healthy.
Yeah.
And the lifestyle of being vegan is very political. And it is mostly, I would say, acquired, unfortunately, out here in certain districts that are predominantly white.
And how about this? It's been like this for a while. My father said that he stopped eating meat in 1974. Okay, but also, Carmela, how about this one? Out here, so everybody out here got enough money to try everything vegan. And so, therefore, whatever your recipes are, whatever your flavors are, whatever combinations you already made, it's way over in New York. They ain't had them. That's a business and a half. Wouldn't you say so, Lydia?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Well, no, I can hear you. One of my friends, so I'm in Philly now, but my friend from Brooklyn, she moved out 4 years ago, and I had another friend that she went to Evergreen State, and she only just moved back to the East Coast. But yeah, one of the complaints she's like, there's vegan food, but it's not on the level like we knew in New York. And so she keeps asking me when I'm going to send her a care package of stuff from my shop. And I'm
okay,
like,
so here you go.
Yeah,
Here you go. Carmela, let me ask you a question. Make us all go, Tell us one item in your restaurant.
Well, so I don't have a restaurant, it's a store, but I can tell you, so I work with this bar they make some meals and stuff for my place. And one of the things that they make, which is amazing, is this roasted jackfruit that's supposed to be like roast pork with broccoli rabe and provolone cheese. It is the most amazing thing I've ever had.
That sounds so good. Does that sound good, y'all?
I mean, I had the accident
I've never
on the
tried
pasta.
jackfruit. I'd have to try it.
A little watery. But
yes,
I've had jackfruit before.
Hey, man,
There's a barbecue place that serves it
you
here.
back the fuck up off me, dude? What? I always got to put my hand down and catch wet nose.
Are you talking to the dog? We're on the line.
Oh, I'm sorry. You're still on? I'm sorry. I thought I
I was like, what the heck?
Hey, hey,
Carmela, I'm from Philly. So
cool.
I definitely.
What?
Huh?
What part of Philly?
Oh, I'm originally from Southwest Philly, but I've lived in West and Northwest. I have some people out Northeast and suburbs of Philly, like Bucks County.
Yeah, I used to live in West. Now I live in South because it's really closer to my South.
Oh, out West. Oh, okay, yeah. Yeah, I used to be out there, too. Yeah. Like 52nd Street.
Okay, but see, if
they're
y'all
doing a lot on 52nd Street now.
If y'all really listen to Carmela's description, okay, here, I'm going to try to do it as Cosby. You have to understand, the second word she said after the jackfruit was pork. She said pork. Okay, she got vegan, it tastes like pork. Everybody's going to try it. They have to. Right? I mean,
you got vegan
basically, yeah. Hey, look, Carmela, if you can make, and then Lydia said there's a barbecue place that uses jackfruit. So yes, so that means that's yes. So we know. So then, Carmela, we show like a video of your stuff, and then I do like the Arby's voice or somewhere between him and James Earl Jones, and then you have jackfruit drizzled with provolone cheese and whatever the hell else she said. You know what I mean? And then I would happily do that for you. You know what I mean? Any voiceover, anything.
I would love that.
I could be in between Red Fox and Louis Armstrong going, we got pork fruit on the plate. That's right, pork fruit. It's jackfruit. Tastes like pork. You got to come on down to, what's the name of your place, Carmela? What's the name of your thing?
My V Marks the Shop.
V Marks the Shop?
Yeah, so to take on X Marks the Spot.
Yeah, how about this? V Marks the Shop. If you want to deliver it, V Marks the Drop, right? Have Art Vader and the Imperial Falcon bring some some pork tasting fruit. It's fruit, but it's pork. But it's with some provolone. You better get some cheddar some Kobe. You can have jackfruit, pork, and Kobe.
We got vegan Kobe at my shop. This is the crazy thing. People are
a vegan Kobe.
Like,
there you go.
Yep.
Jackfruit with a vegan vegan. See, people they how do they have the vegan and the Kobe at the V marks the spot, Jack. Spot in your belly with the fruit and the jelly and the jackfruit from Carvalho.
So when I'm out there with I told you the plan is for me to be out there in August. So we're gonna go find some cool eats, and then I'll tell you how it compares to what I got out here.
Yeah, and then I'm saying right now, start figuring out how you can flash freeze that shit. So me and Tony and the other drivers and Lydia, we can start our own business and just be and even send. And Jen's like, Jen could be slinging that wherever she is. Hey, I got some more jackfruit for $20.
I'll pop my trunk and we'll do tailgate parties and everything.
Right?
Yo, right? You want to know the crazy thing right now is? It's like the big thing right now are vegan cheese boards, and I'm seeing people creating charcuterie board companies and trying to sell something that sell these boards for like $100.
But what I'm trying to explain to you about all this is this. Yeah, that's because they're someplace else. But in Seattle, it's like it'll be off the hook because that's all people do is order. We're talking about rich people stacked on top of each other like New York in Seattle. Okay, downtown Seattle is nothing but for tourists, right, for years. Right? You ain't seen a black family just walking around downtown Seattle in 15 years. Okay? And if you do see them, they're either athletes or artists or confused Negroes who think they white. No, I'm just kidding, but I'm not.
White adjacent or white identified.
Right here.
White identified.
There you go. White identified. Here we go. How about this for your?
Or you make it even deeper and say they are white inspired black folks.
Here, somebody's on the line here. Let me open them up. Hold on a second. Your line is open.
Hello?
Yeah, you're open. Okay, so here, check this out. Your line's open.
Yeah, is that me?
Yeah. So here, I was going to do something for Carmela right quick, okay? So here we go. Carmela, we're going to do, maybe this could be music for your commercial. Check this out. Yeah. You're vegan, ain't you? Whatever you had. Vegan. Pork. Jackfruit. With some vegan Kobe. Look at it's jackfruit. Jackfruit pork. We'll figure it out.
I'm not responsible if the food I have y'all deliver leads to people having babies with that music.
Oh yeah, for sure. How about this? No. They're gonna be making the babies of this music. They're gonna make babies of this music right here. This. Jackfruit pork. That's right. It's some pork, baby. Just put some barbecue sauce. Yes. Asian jackfruit. How was that?
That was good.
So just so you know, those beats, so over the last 5 years, you guys, when I stopped doing stand-up, I immersed myself into the music community. And so, Jen, Carmela, we're working on like a Louis Armstrong album where we're gonna do children's songs, Christmas songs, a Baby Yoda song. Okay, Carmela, I did a Baby Yoda song like this. I flip-flopped the words. I went, Yoda baby, Yoda baby, Yoda baby for me. Get some jackfruit and meat pies. It's pork, meat free. Man, that's gonna be fun, Carmela. No, look, Carmela, the way my friends are, we got a friend who got a business that has something good. Hey man, it's all hands on deck to turn this mother out. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
No, so here, let's say you understand about the drivers and stuff. What I'm saying is, you have enough drivers to take your stuff wherever, all around where we just make first people just order, and they just order it already frozen and take it, and they make and have you can do it like that. I don't know, but also check this out. I don't know how everything freezes, or you know what I mean, or however they do it, because that's how you kind of got to do it in the pandemic, right? You got to be pandemic friendly, almost, right?
Airport.
Yeah, pick it up. Yeah, there you go. Pick it up at the airport. I mean, Tony's a professional driver, got his own limousine service and everything and shit. So, and Tony actually
vending machines, modern automat or something, an airport.
Yeah, there you go.
To go.
Right, but I remember somebody was trying to do something in the airport, but you got to remember, somebody else is going to pimp you for that space. You feel like a hoe, even if your holes aren't trafficked. So it's really deep. Oh, I know what. I'll tell you guys something funny that kind of mixes the two, whole math and the vegan thing together. Joan Rivers on this special. Joan Rivers pulls out of this tray the joke she had written, and the joke she had written on this card was, "Why should I learn how to cook? So my husband can tell some hoe how great my cake tastes."
She's a riot. I actually met her at my job. Maybe it was 7 years ago. And she
Really?
had me laughing in the elevator. Yeah, she's mad cool. She actually was coming in to do a casting call for, her show on E during Fashion Week. And my office was 2 floors above her where she was going. Yeah, I ran into her when I left the building to grab lunch, and I ran into her when I was coming back. And she was telling me some rat jokes because one of the spots near the office had been exposed for uncleanliness and had video of rats coming out of, like, the pickle bucket that people were digging into. So she had me cracking up waiting for the elevator and up in the elevator ride, but she was hilarious. Really nice, really nice.
Job. Joan Rivers, elevator. Oh yeah. That's funny. I wish this show was sponsored by Amazon so I could say, coming up this Friday, March 5th, coming to America. You know what I mean? Just because I'm excited about it. I don't know if y'all are excited as me, and how important Eddie Murphy was in the if y'all really remember, Eddie Murphy was the first person on TV to really just turn it out. You know what I mean? Like, and then because of all the groundwork laid for him, was able to hop from TV to movies. And there's stories about how Lucille Ball called up Eddie Murphy and told him, "Hey kid, whatever it is, you got it." You know what I mean? Like she, if y'all remember, on the old episode of Funny to the Moon, Tana told us that Dick Van Dyke told him that Bieber, he got nothing. I know I'm all over the place. Remember that?
Yeah.
Right? It's deep right there, right? And then Eddie Murphy said, oh, here you go. One of the funny things I saw this week was that somebody asked the best question. Oh, Stephen Colbert asked the best question I never heard nobody ask. Stephen Colbert asked Arsenio, how did you and Eddie Murphy meet? And he said he got a call on the phone. You had to be home to get the call. That was back in those days. Nobody had a cell phone. He got a call from Keenan Ivory Wayans. They said they were meeting down at the club because Eddie was coming into town to work on his Tonight Show set. And Arsenio said that Eddie and Damon Wayans were the last ones to arrive. Okay, and he said when Keenan and Eddie got there, Eddie just was looking at him. just staring at him, like tilted his head, like staring at Eddie Murphy, and just staring. He ain't saying nothing yet, right? And then he said, "What's up, man?" Arsenio said, "And what's up, man?" And then Eddie's still just looking at him. And Keenan said that Eddie Murphy's mom. Keenan tells him that Eddie Murphy's mom said that Arsenio looks like Eddie. And Eddie the first thing Eddie said to Arsenio was, he said, "Nigga, you don't look like me," or you don't look like me, nigga. It was one or the other. Ain't that cool? And that's how they ended up being friends all these years. And so Arsenio was talking about how they had vowed to never make a sequel of Coming to America. Okay, I mean,
really?
They vowed to never do it. Okay, they just thought it was so perfect. There's no way it could be that perfect again, right? So Arsenio said, but he said that he saw people doing Halloween stuff with the movie. He said he saw that Eddie doesn't do social media, but Arsenio took over video of the restaurant that had turned itself into McDowell's, and Arsenio, Beyonce's people had tried to contact Arsenio about doing a Coming to America Halloween party. Okay, and then so he showed over the years he had showed Eddie Murphy all that stuff. And then he said finally Eddie secretly had some people working on the script, and he took the script to Arsenio, and Arsenio read it. He said it's a page turner, it's tight, right? And then Eddie said in an interview that they had so much fun on the set of Dolomite. He had so much fun with Wesley Snipes, and that is why Wesley Snipes is doing the role he's doing. Because that was a role that Eddie was supposed to do. Okay? So instead of Eddie doing an extra makeup day, they just had Wesley do that part. Okay? That's deep, right? That means so that's another layer. So that's a character that would have been Eddie doing the makeup, but when we watch it, we're going to know that Wesley is the one, and Eddie knew too. Eddie said he had so much fun on the set with Wesley Snipes on Dolomite that they went straight from doing that movie right into doing Coming to America 2, or Coming to America, right? And then the other thing about Coming to America, Eddie said in one of the interviews was that Coming to America was supposed to be an all-black cast, but Paramount wouldn't let them have an all-black cast, and they had to have at least one white guy in the movie, and that's why Eddie thought, who's the funniest white guy that I know? And that's why Louis Anderson is in the movie.
But he was in the first one.
Well, no, that's why he was in the first one. No, that's what I'm saying. That's why he was in the first one, in the first place.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
okay.
Ain't that deep? And then Arsenio said that when Eddie was telling him about the new one, that Eddie wanted Tracy Morgan to play Eddie's son, right? And Arsenio thought to himself, Tracy Morgan looks almost old as you, Eddie, right? But he couldn't say that to him, so he had to make it funny. And so he said to Eddie, "Yeah, and then Coming to America 3, we're gonna have Morgan Freeman play your son." And so so I'm watching all these interviews because it was just so kind of cool. And so they're talking about Wesley Snipes and how. And Eddie's talking about how much he loves Wesley Snipes, right? So you got to know, if y'all didn't watch Dolomite, My Name is Dolomite with Eddie Murphy on Netflix.
That was the bomb. That was so good.
Snoop Dogg, Chris Rock, everybody's in that too.
Yeah, it was good. Yeah,
and it was righteous.
It's worth a watch.
This one, Coming to America, got the whole old cast back, right? And they said the set was beat. So you got to understand, everybody knows how important this is, right? How much this really is a classic, right? And so they're not going to mess it up. That's why Eddie said it took 4 years for them to get the script right, right? And it was really interesting because right when he said that, his voice changed, and he said, and if they get Beverly Hills Cop 4 right, we're going to do that too. And I said right then, I said, he was talking to the writers right there. You see all this pub we getting for Coming to America? And then Eddie explained that Coming to America is the only movie with black people in it that was a hit everywhere in the world. He said, and it's because it's the universal theme of arranged marriage. That brings us back to whole math. The whole math of Coming to America, right? Because really that's what the plot maybe is, right? That Eddie did some bad whole math, and like in Game of Thrones, you know, you mess up the arranged marriage, there might be a red wedding. That's pretty good.
They just straight animal livestock.
Right.
Look, I'll get my daughter.
You're right. And so,
Mm-hmm.
give me a couple shekels and some sheep.
Right.
Shekels and sheep. Right. And so, therefore, what Lydia was saying earlier, I think, and she can correct me, is we only got 36 minutes. We can stop at any time if everybody's ready to go. But I think we did a good job on this episode of whole math, which is it's always going to be whole math, and it's whether or not you're going to do the math yourself, you're going to let somebody do the math for you, and if they do the math for you, you are stuck inside their game and their benevolence, and they may not give you anything to do any math with. Was that what you were saying, Lydia?
Yeah.
Or Jen, or Carmela, or anybody?
I've explained what I was saying a bunch of times.
Okay.
Oh yeah. Okay, exactly.
I'll talk. I got three. I have four, three. I got four strong sisters. All right, and they're learning. They're barely learning how to flip the game, man. You got to do whole math on them. You feel me? And just be a strong woman. I mean, you can be a strong woman. Everybody, well, I'm a strong woman or whatever. But when you get to the point, it's like the Jedi. You got to get to a certain point where you flipping the game. All right, that's my whole math. All right.
So something like self-empowered is different than self-financed?
Yeah, no dry purses. That's all right. Because I already know.
So, you got to be self-financed or, I don't know. I guess, look, what I thought you were saying was something like maybe as a woman, you got to decide whether you're going to be using your mind or your holes. And the guy has to figure out he's going to use his mind or his back.
Either way. Or holes. It's a new one.
They're more
avenues
for
I'd like
each
holes
use
to
their
also
mind.
be in the male option. I'd like to hear that more. That would make things a little bit more equal.
If the holes were a male option, the males were a hole.
Just more. That's all.
You can't say just female. You got to say it's a new world.
Humans. Earthlings.
Well, yeah. Well, let's put it like this. I would happily be a hoe slinging organic vegan food around Seattle.
Right.
That would be, I think that would be fun. I think it would be. I would love to help my friends spread a righteous business around an area I know, and around the area Lydia knows everybody, and Tony knows everybody. You know what I mean? And we're and we know people. Yeah. So that okay. Here, just for giggles, just give us one more food thing, Carmela. I mean, you really don't have to, because really, jackfruit and pork. You could have stopped. You had me at pork. Okay, jackfruit, pork.
Oh, okay.
Right?
I mean, we got so much stuff. We got so much stuff. It's kind of wild, but let's see. I think somebody that we work with does a vegan seafood mac and cheese.
Ooh.
And so
I don't anything, but I would like to try it, and if it tastes good, we got a problem here.
Oh, it's good.
Lydia
it's good. Like,
or Carmela.
no, I'm just saying it's good. I mean, I preface the fact that it's made by a black woman down in Baltimore, who I get stuff from almost weekly. And she just blew up. She just opened up 2 cafes down in her area.
I would die if I had to be vegan, by the way, because I'm allergic to coconut. I'm one of those like rare humans out there that like just can't do coconut, and almost all vegan food uses coconut oil up here.
Oh, you'd be surprised. This woman stuffs no coconut. She does some stuff that's soy free in her line. So she tries to hit as many allergens, like to remove them as much as possible. Yeah, I know a lot of people were relying on coconut for a minute because that just became the hot thing in vegan food trends. But I'm seeing more and more get away from coconut now.
Yeah. Well, Sharon,
I hope.
I'll at your boys and ladies.
That sounds wonderful. All right, y'all. Thank you very much. I think this has been a wonderful first episode. The science of hearing how good jackfruit pork is going to be, and the science of home, the science of home math, the science of why people are mad, part 1, the science of angry white people, which is really just afraid. That's a different A word. Right? They're just afraid. They're not angry. It's afraid. The science of afraid white people. Ooh. Wow. Thank you so much. It's 10:30 on the East Coast. They're tired. Everybody's tired. Thank you, Lydia. Thank you, Carmela. Thank you, Tony. Thank you, Jen. Thank you, Sean. Thank you. I appreciate you all.
Thanks, everybody.
Thank you.
All right.
Take care,
Have a great
y'all.
evening. Thank you.
All right.
Bye-bye.
Have a good
Good night.
night.
Bye-bye.
Good night. Bye-bye.